your butt up. I cannot believe how many of you guys actually like that intro, and I do have to give credit to my Thea because she's been saying that to me since I was like literally 5 years old. Do I know where it came from? No. Am I gonna continue to use it? Yes. Thank you, Thea. What's up, besties? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to your favorite story time, especially part 3 of my messy boss story time. I hope that you guys are excited. I know that y'all are just busting at the seams wanting to know what happened after I saw Veronica and Jake seemingly going on a date in my building's garage, just like on accident. So I will be letting you guys know what had happened after that. So definitely get your wine and your snacks and everything you need so we can just jump right into the story time. But before we do, I would like to give a special shout out and thank you to Care of for collaborating with me on this video and supporting my content. If you don't know what Care of is, girl, let me put you on real fast, especially for the new year. If you guys have any new health goals, fitness goals, anything like that, especially in regards to health and wellness, I think Care of would be really beneficial to you. Care of is so much more than just a regular vitamin company. They really do take the guesswork out of vitamins. If you're kind of lost, you don't know where to start, you don't know how many to take, what you should take, they really help you implement a good routine and good habits by having everything really easily accessible to you, by not only delivering the supplements to you, but also putting everything in one vitamin pack with your name on it, specifically curated for you. And that's the really cool part. The way that they're able to do that is by you taking a really quick, simple 5-minute quiz on their website. They ask you all types of questions ranging from your fitness to how you're sleeping, to what you're eating, to your goals, and they're able to curate some really good recommendations for supplements, vitamins, and even wellness powders that you might find beneficial and that will help you live and feel your very best every single day without having to worry about which vitamins you should take. And along with the supplements that they recommend for you, of course, they provide informational cards to you that will kind of give you some background on each supplement that they're recommending for you and why. You guys, I've been using Care of for 2 years now, and I have never been more consistent with taking vitamins. Personalization of Care of was definitely something I appreciated because I knew that it was based off of the quiz and my answers about my specific lifestyle and my specific goals. So I know that I am taking the vitamins that are going to make me feel my very best. All you have to do to get started is go down to my description box and click on the link there, take the quick 5-minute quiz. If you guys are interested in trying Care of and you just kind of want to see if it works for you, definitely take advantage of my discount code down below. I'll leave it here for you guys as well. You can use my code Nikki Glamour for 50% off your first month with Care of, and I guarantee you guys, you're going to find it so convenient and so helpful. It's not overwhelming anymore. It's all in one pack that has your name on it and even a cute little daily quote that you can look forward to. I also like their dispenser. It's really slim and you can put it anywhere that you're not going to forget it. Next to your toothbrush, next to your coffee maker, whatever works for you. You take your little packet out, you take your vitamins, and you're good to go. Also, if you're traveling a lot, these little packets of vitamins are really going to come in clutch for you. And they have this really awesome creamer that has collagen in it that I'm able to just stir into my coffee. If you guys are looking for any supplements, vitamins, and you just don't know where to start, give Care of a try. I think that you guys would really find them beneficial and convenient, especially if you're on the go, a student, a mom, just living your crazy life. So if you guys are interested and want to check them out, definitely take advantage of my discount code for 50% off of your first month with Care of. Everything will be delivered straight to your door. No fuss, no mess, no hassle, no overwhelming feeling. And they are also environmentally conscious. So these little packets that your vitamins come in are compostable. So if you guys want to know some more information about how to compost your vitamin packs, you guys can visit this link here and find out some more information about that as well. But thank you so much to my homies over at Care of for collaborating with me on my story time today. I really appreciate them and their support for my content and allowing me to do what I love and what you like to hear. So definitely check them out. Let them know that your girl Nikki sent you, and don't forget to use that code, girl, 50% off. Don't miss it. So that night when I went home from my date with David after seeing Veronica and Jake in that garage, girl, like that's all I could think of. And like this is the weekend, so I had like a good 2 days until I had to see Veronica at work, and y'all, I could not compute, I could not process, I couldn't even believe that I saw that. Like, what are the odds, right? So like I was texting my bestie because, you know, obviously I used to tell her about my messy ass boss all the time as things were happening. Remember, I told you guys Khadijah was there that night. So like we split up and went separate ways to go home. So by the time I got home, I'm texting her and I'm like, bitch, like guess who I ran into? And she was like, girl, like I just saw you, who? And I told her, and so, you know, I'm telling her all the tea, and she was like, shut the fuck up. She was like, are you serious? Like your boss really is messy. Now, my bestie has always been a professional. Like even when we were super young, and even back then, she was like very much about her business. And so my bestie could not stand my messy ass boss. And she was like, that is so unprofessional. She is like displaying unprofessionalism all the way around. Like, I don't even know how you work with her, much less with her as your superior. And I'm like, bitch, tell me about it, right? Anyways, I have this night of like spilling the tea with David and my bestie. And I'm like, I don't know. So my bestie's like, what are you gonna do? Like, are you gonna mention it? Like, what are you gonna do when you go back to work? And I was like, girl, I think I'm just gonna like stay in my lane and not say anything, but like she knows that I know. And I know she knows I know. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna go ahead and put this in my back pocket. Like, obviously this definitely isn't my business anyway, but if Veronica ever decides to make it my business, we can definitely go there. In that moment that I decided that I didn't really feel like it was necessary to like call Veronica out, because again, it's not my business, but if she ever wanted to discuss, we could discuss. So I was like a little bit nervous, not nervous, but like giddy, anxious to go back to work on Monday just to see what this next encounter and interaction with my boss is gonna look like after this happens. I definitely get up early. I get to the office early because I need to see her walk in. I just need to see her face, and I want to see how she reacts to seeing me after this happens. I like make my coffee. I do everything that I need to do, and I am seated at my desk before 8 a.m. to ensure that I am there to see her walk in. So I'm waiting, right? And 8 o'clock comes around, she still ain't there. 8:10 comes around, she still ain't there. Veronica wasn't really known for missing work. Like, she would come to work hella hungover, but she wasn't one to miss work. If I had to guess when I was there, I would say she probably took like 3-4 days off during the time I was there. Fast forward and like 9 a.m. comes around and I'm like, holy shit, she really isn't here. That's crazy. Like, what if she just didn't come into work because she knows that I saw her, and like, what if this is a bigger deal than I anticipated? Fast forward, mail gets dropped off to my desk, and I'm the person that has to, you know, give everyone their mail and stuff and go through it, make sure I'm throwing away junk mail, right? So I get the mail, I organize it by person, and then I make my rounds around the office real fast to drop off everyone's mail at their desk. Remember that there are 2 kitchens in this office. One is definitely way bigger than the other. There's also 2 sides of the office, all right? Now, where I'm sitting, I'm in the middle of each side. To the left is like more accounting and marketing, and then to the right is HR and like the executives. So Veronica, she sat over on the right, but she would always come to our kitchen that was on the left because it was bigger. I had the big Coke fridge, I had the big printer. Like, everyone liked that kitchen a lot better. The other one was a lot smaller, didn't have as many appliances, you know, whatever. Anyways, y'all, I'm walking around and I'm like dropping off people's mail, saying good morning, and I pass by the second smaller kitchen and I hear Veronica in there, and she's talking to like one of the other admins, and she's in there like making her coffee, and I pass by and like I do a double take and I was like, Scott! So I'm sitting there, I'm like, how did she get past me? Because when you come up to our floor, the elevators are in the middle, and our company took up the entire floor. But when you get off the elevators, you could go either way, right or left. And there are 2 double doors there that are made out of glass, and you can get into either one. So instead of coming to my side, like everyone else and like going in through that way, this bitch got off the elevator and went the opposite way, and then went all the way around to her desk so that she wouldn't come into contact with me. In that moment, I'm realizing that she definitely is avoiding me. I am so shocked. Like, I did not expect this reaction out of her. If anything, I was just like, you know, she's my superior, whatever happened, but I didn't expect her to like be full on avoiding me, bitch. And she did that for the rest of the day. I didn't even see her when I was like going to lunch, when I was getting coverage for lunch, when I came back from lunch. The only time that like I actually laid eyes on her that day was when she was walking with the CEO, and they were heading to a meeting in the conference room that was behind my desk. And I see her, and she specifically walks on the opposite side of him so that she's not closest to me. So between me and her is the CEO. So obviously I can't say nothing. Like, we can't have our mess in front of the CEO. So she's like this, to where I can't even see her fucking face, bitch. Like, she is basically using him as a shield to get to and from the conference room. So she did that to get in the conference room. They have their meeting for about an hour, and then she did that again on the way out. So it was so evident that she was avoiding me and that she just did not want to have this conversation. And I was like, hey girl, you're the one making this weird. I don't really, like, I'm not going to question you about it. Like I said, it's not my business, but you're just making this very, very weird. Like, it doesn't have to be all this. I'm not your best friend. That's not my man. So, like, why are you trying to avoid me? Fast forward, Tuesday, Wednesday comes around, and she starts slowly but surely, like, talking to me here and there, like, and passing, like, hey, Nikki, you know, do you have this done? Or, hey, Nikki, did you have a chance to look at that email? Or, hey, Nikki, you know, but she was, like, in passing. She wasn't stopping. And so, you know, I would answer her real quick, like, yes, you know, I'm working on it, or yes, I emailed it to you, or whatever. And she'd be like, okay, great, thanks. And just, you know, keep on going. But y'all, the tension in the air was thick. Okay. And I was just like, by Wednesday, y'all, I was like, you know what? Why do I feel so awkward in this situation? Like, I felt like I did something wrong because it was so awkward. It was so tense. And meanwhile, Monica had been, like, you know, stopping at my desk as she usually does. And like Veronica would, like, walk past, you know, just like real fast. And she was being very weird. And Monica was picking up on it. And she was like, hey, you know, is Veronica okay? And I was like, I guess. I was like, I don't know. I haven't really talked to her. So, you know, I'm trying to play it off, and I tell Monica, I was like, I just think she has a lot on her mind. You know, like going out with your mans. I just think that she has, like, a lot going on, some projects or whatever. And basically telling Monica not to read too much into it because Veronica was making this shit weird. And it was so evident. It was so obvious. And I was like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, why? If you want this shit to be a secret and, like, you don't want it to be a big deal, like, just act normal. Like, what is wrong with you? Y'all, this went on until about the end of the week, like Friday. And finally, Veronica comes to my desk, and it's like towards the end of the day. And, you know, usually this would happen where, like, she would have me wrap up projects, and then we'd kind of chit chat and give each other, like, the scoop on what we were going to be doing that weekend. Now, Veronica knew that I had a second job already. She didn't know where, but she knew that I had a second job. So she comes to my desk. I swear my heart starts beating so fast because this is the first time that my boss is going to be, like, face to face with me and not walking past and not, like, trying to act all busy. And we're finally just going to, like, face each other. So I see her walk into my desk. I put everything down and I'm like, okay, let's get ready for the tea, bitch. So she comes, she drops off a few, like, little letters that I need to mail out. And with the sweetest voice ever, she was like, hey, Nikki, would you mind making sure that these go out first thing Monday morning? It's really important. Yeah, sure. And she was like, great, thanks. Y'all, she's hitting me with that soft voice. I have never heard her talk to me in this voice before, like, very soft and, like, sweet and, like, very complimentary, just like, oh, you know, I really appreciate everything that you've been doing. Like, you've been doing really great on projects, and, like, you know, everything around the office looks wonderful. Just wanted to let you know that you're doing a great job. Like, bitch, it takes me having to catch you doing something trifling for you to even show me the slightest amount of appreciation. Now you appreciate me, bitch. So, you know, I'm seeing right through her, and I'm like, oh, thanks, Veronica. You know, like, I try, and, you know, I'm just, you know, trying to do my job or whatever. And she was like, yeah, you know, you've been doing great. And then she asked the question, so do you have any plans this weekend, or are you just working? Of course, that weekend, including that night, I was going to be working. So I was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm going to be working this weekend. Oh, I thought you worked every weekend, but apparently not, right? You're referring to last weekend. Oh, the boldness, the audacity, bitch. It's like, yeah, typically, but, you know, every month or so I'll have, like, one night off on the weekend. I'm not about to back down. You're not about to make me feel embarrassed about this shit. So I did. I looked at her and I was like, and last Saturday just so happened to be my day off. Y'all, she acts all brand new. She was like, oh my God, yeah, I did see you last Saturday, huh? I was like, yeah, I think so, for like a split second. So she tries to flip it on me, and she was like, where were you coming from? And I was like, oh, you know, I was just, like, hanging out with friends, and, like, I had this birthday party to go to. It's like, when I saw you, I was heading home. But before I could even say anything else or, like, even ask, like, what were you doing there? Y'all, she tries to flip this shit on me so fucking fast, and she was like, you do know that you're not supposed to be using your parking pass on weekends, right? Immediately, I go into defense mode, and I was like, well, no, I didn't know that. I was like, I just figured they do pay for monthly passes, and because I don't really have weekends off, it's super rare that I even use the parking pass on the weekends because I do have another job, Veronica. And honestly, I'm surprised to hear you say that because I know that you were parked in the garage that Saturday, right? Yeah, but I have direct clearance from Cliff the CEO. I have direct clearance from Cliff. If I needed to use my parking pass on the weekend, I have clearance to do so, but you never asked to use the parking pass on the weekends. I'm not gonna sit here and be berated about some damn parking pass and you over here trying to divert the attention away from what the fuck you were doing in that garage. So I seriously looked at her and I was like, Veronica, would you like me to pay for the parking? Would you like me to, you want me to give you $18 right now? I was like, I got some cash. I was like, you got cash for a 20? Nikki, no. She was like, no. You don't have to pay it back, obviously. She was like, but just let me know if you plan on using your parking pass on the weekend so I can give you clearance. My parking pass is going to work whether you give me clearance or not. I need clearance from you every single time that I want to use the parking pass. Meanwhile, you're telling me that your boss gave you full-on clearance to use the parking pass, because guess what? He doesn't give a fuck. Okay, he throws money at coconut water, bitch, and fucking Coke machines in our fucking office. You think that he cares about some $18 from me? Y'all, I could not believe that she was like trying to spin this shit and like really try to make it like you're the one in the wrong because you shouldn't have been parking in there. And I was like, bitch, I know you are not. She tells me that she's like trying to be nice, but it's coming off very condescending. And she was like, so just let me know, it's nothing that a conversation can't fix. I just definitely want to know for the logs on the parking passes, trying to convince me that they log how many times we use the parking pass, which is so fucking untrue. Like, and I know it. They do not keep track of that shit. They don't even keep track of what we're ordering for marketing. And you expect me to believe that the CEO gives a fuck? Are you... Girl, I was like, okay, y'all, I just wanted this conversation to be over and her to be out of my face. I was like, I did not know that you were going to come over here on this mess and on this bullshit and try to convince me that I was the one in the wrong. So I said what I had to say to get her out of my face. And I was like, it won't happen again, Veronica. Trust and believe me, it will not happen again. I will not be having a weekend off anytime soon. As you know, I do have 2 jobs. In the event that something changes, I will communicate that to you. Okay, great. So glad we had this talk. Have a good weekend. So that was our first like true interaction, y'all, since that happened. And it was like the whole week she's being all fucking weird and awkward and like avoiding me and shit. And then the first time that she talks to me, she's gonna try to make it a big deal about me parking in the garage. She had gone to her desk and was like, how can I get this bitch? How can I make this her problem? How can I put her in the wrong and like deflect this entire situation onto Nikki? Y'all, I could tell that she was like grasping at straws here. And I was like, you know what? You're very messy and I am not going to sit here and go back and forth with you. Anyways, y'all, fast forward, the rest of the night goes on. I go to my job at the strip club, and when I get home, I told David everything. I tell my bestie everything. And I was like, this bitch, right? And I was like, she for real tried to make it about the parking pass, da da da. Fast forward some time. It could have been a week or 2. I don't know. And everything starts kind of going back to normal. Veronica and I never talked about it. Like, she never brought it up to me. And she started to act normal again, where like she would come by my desk with Monica. Everything was going back to normal at work. Every single time I saw those 2 together, I'm looking at Monica like, that TikTok, I know something you don't. I know something you will never know. I was like looking at Monica like, bitch, if only you knew. It was so weird because in this time frame, it was like they were getting closer again. You know how like they were having that weird disconnect ever since Monica started seeing Jake? Well, now that disconnect was completely connected again, girl. And they were back on bestie terms and like going out to lunch and like coming in again all hungover and like doing every single thing together, going to meetings together. You could hear them giggling in the kitchen together like nothing had ever happened. And I'm sitting there watching my boss do this, knowing what the fuck I know. And I'm sitting there like, bonsoir. Like, how do you even have respect for a person like that after that? You know what I mean? So definitely this was around the time that all of my respect down the drain, girl. I had not a lick of respect for her. For the 1,000th freaking millionth time, I am not supposed to be in this position, and y'all have had me here for over 6 months, and y'all are fucking trying it. I am going on to almost a year being at this company, and I will not continue to repeat myself. I'm not meant to be just the receptionist, okay? Like, get me the fuck up out of here. Y'all not gonna stop hearing from me. One day came around, and Monica came to my desk by herself. And keep in mind, she's the HR director, right? So she comes to my desk, and, I just bring it up to her very nonchalant, and I was like, hey, can I talk to you about something? And she was like, yeah, of course. So I'm just like very frank with her. And I was like, this has been something that I've been talking about since Diane's passing. and nothing has happened. Monica was very much aware of this, and she was like, yeah, you know, Nikki, I know. And, you know, everything kind of shifted. We had to rehire for Diane, you know, me, and I had to kind of get used to my role. And, you know, we just didn't want a whole lot of moving parts at that time. So I get why you're frustrated. And I was like, well, yeah, I was like, I am. And, you know, I just want my opportunity to grow in this company. And I was like giving her all of the reasons that I just wanted to be heard and why I wanted to get out of this position and kind of flourish elsewhere. Like, I actually pulled your file in Diane's office when I took over, and I saw your qualifications and your experience, and I completely agree with you, and I understand where Diane was coming from hiring you, because I probably would have hired you on the same basis, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go ahead and request a meeting with Cliff, which was the CEO. She was like, so that way we can come up with a game plan on getting someone else hired in your position, allowing you 2 weeks to train this person, and then getting you onboarded in the marketing department, right? That's what you were interested in. And I was like, yes. So finally, I'm like beacon of hope, right? Like, you know, Monica is going to go to bat for me, and she is the HR director. She is the one that can hire and fire people and onboard people. And like, we're finally, everything had settled after Diane's death. Like, everything was back to normal. I did not understand why there was still a holdup. Fast forward, and like the next day, I received this email that I'm CC'd on, and it was an email to Veronica from Monica, and it was in regards to me. Monica was like, hi Veronica, I'd like to request a meeting with Cliff in regards to placing Nikki in another department and onboarding another receptionist. If you could let me know when he's available, that would be great. So Monica had no choice but to go through Veronica, because Veronica was the CEO and the COO's direct executive admin, and that was part of her job, was to book meetings and cancel meetings and all of that. So nobody ever like contacted the CEO or the COO directly. They all had to go through Veronica. I don't know why, but I forgot about that. Like, I just figured that Monica would be able to just meet with Cliff. She's the HR director, like, duh. Y'all, when I saw this email, I knew something in me told me that this was going to be a mess. And I was like, this is just not going to work. Like, if you involve Veronica in this, like, it's never going to happen. So immediately my heart drops, and I received this email, and I'm like, oh God, right? Within like a half hour, we get a response, and it's from Veronica, and she hit reply all, and it was very short, thing along the lines of, I'll look at his calendar, see when he's available, and get back to you. Like, very much up in the air. There's no date set. There's no, like, I don't know how hard it is to just look at his calendar and provide dates, but I knew what the fuck she was doing. She was keeping everything open-ended, and she was like, I will get back to you. So Monica responds right away and was like, okay, great, just let me know. And then that was it, y'all. And I had the worst feeling. I was like, that is gonna be the last that we hear from her, because she ain't gonna do that. She is not gonna do that. Sure enough, days go by, y'all, and it's like heading towards the end of the week. I still haven't had a response from Veronica. Monica hasn't heard from Veronica in that regard. Every time Monica was like coming to my desk, she was like, you know, we're gonna get this figured out. You know, I'm gonna be meeting with Veronica today, and she's gonna look at Cliff's calendar, and like trying to reassure me that the ball was rolling, but the ball was not rolling. The ball was stuck in one spot, growing cobwebs on it, okay? It definitely was not rolling. So I'm looking at Monica, and I know that it wasn't her fault, so I didn't want to give her an attitude. Like, she really was trying to get the ball rolling in some sense, and the person that was stopping this was Veronica all the way. So fast forward to the next week, it gets pushed aside. I think Monica mentioned it like once. We had a big board meeting. Other things were priority. Fast forward like another week, and I am getting very agitated. I am having to put up with Veronica's shit. She's nitpicking at everything that I do. She doesn't want me to work on projects for anybody else. I'm bored as hell. I am tired of repeating myself, and I am up to here, girl. And then I see them every day, them meaning Veronica and Monica, like going out to lunch and stuff together, and hee hee ha ha. And Veronica does not want to take me seriously, and like just pretending like everything's okay, and I'm not okay. Like, I keep asking for this, and I knew that ultimately I was going to have to make a decision. If this did not change, although they were paying me more than a receptionist salary, I knew for a fact, thanks to one of my admin friends who told me how much she made, I knew that I was making significantly less than an executive admin. I knew it. And I was just like, every single day, it was just more and more resentment. And this was so much more than they could possibly imagine. While they're sitting here just lollygagging and fucking frolicking and going to lunches and spending all this money, bitch, I gotta work 2 jobs, and I don't get home until 4 in the morning. And then I turn around and I come back to work and I deal with my shit. Only reason why I have to do that is because a bitch got bills. And you over here messing with my money, and you messing messing with my ability to grow, and you're also messing with my experience. How the hell is this gonna look on my resume where I started out as a receptionist and I worked my way up to executive admin and now I'm back to receptionist? Like, bitch, y'all not gonna keep playing with me. Because nobody wants to give me answers. How the hell can you explain to me that this is your best fucking friend? Y'all go out to lunch on a damn near daily basis. Y'all work out together. Y'all are all up each other's ass, and you're telling me that y'all can't nail down a date to have a meeting with Cliff? You think that I'm dumb. You must think that I'm real dumb. Like, y'all, I know that those two women talked, and I know that Veronica, whatever her reasoning was, whatever her excuse was, she told Monica, and Monica's buying it, and now they are both not listening to me about what it is that I am looking for in this career path. And I was like, bitch, y'all not for real. For real. Now, in my petty mind, I'm like, y'all think that y'all over here are fucking besties, but y'all don't know. Y'all not. Like, she is a fucking snake. And now you're gonna sit up here and like be playing her little game against me? Bitch, no. So there goes my connection with Monica, and I'm not able to access her anymore as often as I used to because she doesn't want to be placed in that position. Whatever. Best believe the next step that I was going to take was face to face with Veronica because I was tired, okay? One day comes around, right, and we have this meeting towards the end of the day, and Veronica's in this meeting, and right after the meeting was over, I was gonna go in there and clean everything up. You already know what's up. So the meeting ends, I see everyone exiting the conference room, and I just take that opportunity to just go ahead and go in there and get everything done before the end of the day. And when I went in there, Veronica was still in the conference room by herself, and she's like, you know, packing up her stuff and like writing down additional notes or whatever, sitting at like towards the head of the table. And I literally walk up to her, I pull out one of the chairs next to her, and I sit down, and I'm like face to face with her. And so she's like, looks up and she's like, hi, Nikki. And I was like, hey, Veronica, you have a second? Y'all tell me why she was like, yeah, but just a second though. Okay. I was like, don't worry, this will be brief. I was like, I have been in contact with Monica, as you know, and I have been waiting for a possible time slot for Monica to meet with Cliff so we can talk about my transition into another role. I was like, I was just wondering if you could provide me with any updates with that. Grab your wine, bitch. Grab your wine right now, and take a big old swig because this bitch had some nerve. You know what, Nikki, I'm glad that you brought that up. I was actually meaning to talk to you about that. Although I admire your work ethic and how eager you are to grow within the company, it's just not a feasible transition for us to make right now. And also, Cliff has been extremely busy as of recently, and I haven't been able to find a block of time that we could have this meeting in regards to you transitioning out of the receptionist role. And quite frankly, we just don't have the time to onboard another girl and train her. And so I cut in and I was like, no, but there wouldn't be any issue with that because I would be able to train her. You know, Monica and I had already discussed that. At least for a 2-week period, I could sit next to her. You know, she can shadow me. It's not a big deal. I was like, and I could take on that responsibility. And so I'm trying to like provide solutions and like kind of shoot down all of her random excuses. And it got to the point where she was like, Nikki, honestly, we just really enjoy you within the receptionist role. And quite frankly, we don't really understand why you're asking to be transferred out of the receptionist role when you're already being paid more than any other receptionist that has worked here. You do know that, right? I'm also aware that I'm being paid significantly less than any other executive admin in this office, even though my experience backs up that type of payment. And so I have been in this position for almost a year now, far exceeds the timeline that Diane originally gave to me when hiring me. Nikki, Diane isn't here anymore. Whatever was discussed between you and Diane back then, it no longer applies now. Things have changed and our needs have changed. Honestly, I don't understand why you're complaining about it because you haven't made here. You have a ton of perks. You get paid well. You even use your parking passes on the weekends. So do you, Veronica. And whether or not you have Cliff's approval, you're definitely using your parking pass for things like, I don't know, dates. Just me mentioning that, all of a sudden, she don't have no more time left. And she was like, you know what, Nikki, I'm actually late for a meeting with Cliff. I have to go. We can definitely try to finish this conversation on Monday, but thank you for bringing your concerns to me, okay? I'm sitting there and I'm looking at her. She gets up and she walks right out. And I'm sitting there just watching her like, when I walked out of that conference room, I had made the decision in my mind that I was not going to stay here. Like that was the last straw to me. You are not going to sit up here and tell me that I don't have any other options. Y'all not going to listen to me, that I need to be grateful for a little funky receptionist position when I know that I have worked for every single thing that I have. I have been working since I was 12 years old, and I've been working in corporate offices since I was 17. Don't sit up here and try to play me. You think that I sat there and made all those sacrifices, didn't go out and party, didn't stay out with my friends all night, always had a job because this shit's fun? No, bitch, because I got bills to pay. The way that she shut me down, y'all, was so disrespectful, and I was done. Y'all not about to just have me here looking stupid, making this little bitty money to where I have to have a second job just to pay my bills. I am not gonna be struggling anymore. I was so mad. I packed up my shit. I was spending the entire weekend looking for other jobs, looking for other job postings, getting a hold of staffing agencies, you know, seeing what positions they had available, getting my resume out there because I was about to bounce. Y'all, there was one more defining moment that I literally looked at Veronica and was like, I could not be under you anymore. You are an embarrassment. That was a meeting that happened like within the next few weeks. And it was with all of us. Like there was a huge change that was going on in our system and like the way that we were going to be doing data entry. And so everybody needed to learn and have like tutorials on this new application that we were going to be using. So I mean, when I tell you everybody, like we're all called into this huge ass conference room. They have the big projector and they're walking us through this new system. And honestly, I'm not really paying attention because I don't plan on being here for much longer any goddamn way. So this meeting goes on for like the rest of the day. They basically like shut down the operations of the office. They had my phone set up to go to voicemail and like, you know, nobody was in the office outside of this conference room. And then the meeting ended about a half hour before the end of business. And so our CEO was just like, you know, you guys just chill, eat, hang out, you know, the office is closed for the rest of the day, like no need. So he was basically just telling us to just hang out and kind of like team build and, you know, for the remainder of the time until 5 p.m. Right across from me is Veronica, Monica, all the CEOs. Like when I tell you, everybody was in there, all laughing and we're all listening to the same conversation. And we're all a part of the same conversation, right? We start talking about the fitness challenge. We start talking about working out. But all of a sudden, Veronica, loud as fuck, mentions her son. And she says, and I quote, oh yeah, you know what? My son's actually really tall too. He's 5'12". You know, he takes after his dad, obviously. He's 5'12". Bitch, did you just say 5'12"? Y'all, when I tell you everyone in that conference room stopped and just looked at her like, bitch, what the fuck did you just say? Oh, the CEO, the COO, like all the executives, they're all like looking at her like, you know that when they're like, they're about to make fun of you, but they're trying to remain professional, like that type of shit. And we're all looking at her and I'm like, bitch, how many inches are in a foot? 12. He's 6 foot. Am I crazy? Who the fuck says 5'12"? Nobody. That's who. Y'all, like I could hear chuckles and giggling and she was just completely missing it. She just thought that she was like the cutest thing in the room talking about her son. And even Monica was like, I am done. It is bad enough that y'all are keeping me as the receptionist of this company, but if you think that I'm gonna be sitting up here having my superior say some stupid shit like 5'12", you got me messed up. I know that seems so stupid and so childish, but legit, girl, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, I can't. You're an embarrassment. I can't. Like everything about you, I cannot respect you. Like this is not gonna work. We're gonna be clashing. I'm gonna continue to resent you. And like, I need to go. It had been like a few weeks, I would say almost a month since that whole thing happened with Jake and Veronica when I saw them in the parking garage, right? So of course, you know, I just assumed that maybe that whole situation dwindled because obviously I hadn't seen anything and Monica was definitely still with Jake. Like she had mentioned him to me, like they were still going on dates, they were still getting to know each other, whatever. She had literally just mentioned this to me a few days prior. One day comes around, bitch. Now keep in mind, my building is literally right there off at the 16th Street Mall, and the 16th Street Mall has everything, including an Office Depot, right? So I used to make runs to Office Depot, you know, like we would have like online orders that I would go pick up, like extra copy paper if we ran out before our delivery, or like picking up posters that they printed out, you know, shit like that, right? So one day comes around. So in the morning, Kimberly stops at my desk and she was like, hey, Nikki, do you have any plans for lunch today? And I was like, no, you know, like usually I would just walk around the 16th Street Mall for about an hour. She was like, I have a meeting right before lunch. She was like, and I really need to drop this off at Office Depot. Would you mind doing that right before you go to lunch? Like, you can leave early. I'll watch the desk for you. She was like, but if you could drop this off for me, I would really appreciate it. I was actually really happy that Kimberly was asking me for help for something, right? So I'm like, yeah, girl, I got you, no problem. So she leaves that stuff with me, and I know that I'm gonna go drop it off during my lunch. Fast forward some time, and like before the afternoon, Monica came to my desk. She was like, hey, you know, how are you? Like, trying to start a conversation. And I was like, hi. And I'm like working on something. And I was like, you know, how are you? How's your day? And she was like, oh, it's good. She was like, hey, do you have any lunch plans today? And I was like, y'all, I stopped. Like, Monica had never asked me out to lunch before. I'm used to seeing Veronica and Monica together all the time. So of course I asked Monica, I was like, oh, you know, where are you and Veronica gonna go? Immediately she was like, oh no, Veronica can't make it. She said that she has an appointment to make, so you know, so I don't have her today. So I was wondering if you had any plans for lunch. But wow, I'm just the option to you, just like plan B. Get nice. It wasn't hard for me to be like, no, like I just don't want to be in that awkward situation. She and I don't really have a whole lot in common. You just let me know and we can definitely plan lunch one day, okay? And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Anyways, so the rest of the day goes on, and right before lunchtime, I see Veronica and she's heading out for her appointment. Kimberly comes a few minutes later and she's there to relieve me until another admin comes to relieve her so that I can have some extra time to drop off this shit, right? I pop in my headphones, girl, and I head out onto the 16th Street Mall. It's a beautiful day. It's like really sunny. There's so many people out there. So I take the mall ride up to Office Depot. And then after that, you know, I was free to do whatever for, you know, the next hour for my lunch. So I stopped at a 7-Eleven. I picked up a few things there. And then, you know, I would just usually just walk and like just enjoy the sights and people watching and stuff like that. And there's like a lot of restaurants out there that have like the little outdoor areas where people are sitting and eating, you know, right there on the side of the 16th Street Mall. And a lot of my coworkers would always go to like these restaurants, one in particular called Rock Bottom. Just in the back of my mind, every time I would pass those restaurants, I knew that there was like, you know, a good chance that I would see some of my coworkers sitting out there for lunch. And I just kind of like walking by real fast. Like, don't talk to me because like I don't feel like talking to you, you know what I mean? So as I start, you know, approaching Rock Bottom and I'm like passing the little outdoor seating area, you know, I just kind of like glance over there, and I have sunglasses on, and I like glance over there just to, you know, just to do a little scan, you know, are any of my coworkers here? Beautiful day, they have umbrellas, there's a bunch of people. So I don't see any of my coworkers, so I'm like, phew, you know, like no awkward moments. And then y'all, I see this waiter and he's coming out and he has this huge like fishbowl looking margarita, and like I'm like looking over at it and it's like this bright blue, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know they had drinks like that. Shit, like me and Khadijah should come here, you know. I'm just like thinking random stuff like that. And this waiter comes down these stairs and he's coming to like the seated area, and from where he was coming from, like they have that part open that like goes into the restaurant, so people that are sitting in the restaurant, they're still getting fresh air because like all of that is open. Does that make sense? So I see him like step down into this area, and bitch, right behind him at one of the bar tables, you know, like one of the tall tables with like the tall chairs and shit, why do I see Veronica and Jake sitting there enjoying a whole ass meal together? Why? I know she is this was your appointment, bitch? This was her appointment, to see Jake for lunch and go to lunch with him instead of her best friend who is dating this man. Okay? Not only the audacity to like lie to everybody and tell everybody that you have an appointment, but secondly, to come out here specifically to see Jake knowing that he's with your bestie. And then thirdly, and most importantly, you have the audaciousness to sit your funky ass right there at the window, like no shame. Like anybody, obviously, anybody can see that you're sitting right there. Like she didn't give a fuck. She's bold. She is so bold. Y'all, it was in this moment that I decided to be pretty petty. This is why I needed to preface all of the shit that was happening before I got to this moment so y'all would understand, okay? What do you think I did? I'm literally like 2-3 blocks away from my building. I haul ass back to my building. I go upstairs, I get off the elevator, I see Kimberly still at my desk, okay? I've only been gone for like 10-15 minutes, all right? And I still have a full hour of lunch because Kimberly wanted me to have some wiggle room to drop off her shit, right? And she's like, hey, you know, did you forget something? And I was like, oh yeah, actually, I wanted to ask Monica if she'd like to go to lunch with me. I'll be right back. I go directly into Monica's office and I knock. Y'all, my heart's beating so fast because I know what I'm about to do and I have made the decision I'm gonna do it. So I get to Monica's office and I'm like, hey, and I kind of pink in. hey girl, what are you doing? Y'all, it was so sad. She had like this little sad salad on her desk and she's like on her computer and she was like, oh, hey, what are you doing? Hey girl, I just wanted to see if you were still available for lunch. I just ran my errand for Kimberly and it is so nice outside. I still have an hour left, so I wanted to see if you wanted to join me for lunch. Y'all, immediately her face lit up. Monica loved being out in these streets, okay? She loved going out. She loved going to restaurants. It's like, oh my God, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, you know, where do you want to go? So she like gets her purse and everything. She's like packing everything up. And I was like, I haven't been to Rock Bottom in a while. I was like, you want to go there? Oh my God, I love Rock Bottom. We should get some margaritas. And I was like, hell yeah, you know? So I'm playing, oh my God, I knew exactly what the fuck I was doing. We're walking down the hallway together. I say peace out to Kimberly, knowing that I'm going to start some shit. Excuse me real fast while I go start some shit. Oh my God, y'all, I cannot tell you. It's like that, like, not excited feeling, just like that anxious, almost excitement feeling where you're just like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what happens. And I know I was being messy as fuck. I know. Y'all, I couldn't help it. Like, it was literally screaming my name for me to do this, okay? And we're just talking about whatever, but I'm not mentally there in this conversation because I know exactly where I'm leading Monica to. We get to Rock Bottom, and while we're like walking past the little outdoor eating area, Monica didn't even like look over to the restaurant. Like, we had to go around the eating area and then inside, right? So I'm hoping, bitch, that like she just looks on her own and sees Veronica, but she didn't look that way. And so we go into the front of the restaurant, go up to the hostess, you know, we tell her that it was just a table for two. And then she asks us, do you guys want to sit inside or outside? So Monica looks at me and she was like, do you want to sit inside or outside? And I was like, it is so pretty today. Why don't we sit outside? She was like, I love sitting outside. Let's do it. She was like, we'll take a table outside, please. So the hostess was like, okay, well, let me check on a few tables. I think that I should be able to get you guys seated within the next like 5 minutes. So let me just go check on that real fast. And I was like, okay, cool. She's back in like 2 minutes. She grabbed some menus and she was like, okay, just follow me back. Here we go. This is not a drill. We are literally walking directly towards where Veronica and Jake are sitting. The hostess starts leading us and I let Monica go before me because I need to see what happens. I need to see the whole thing, okay? Oh my God, my heart is beating so fast just thinking about this. Oh my God. So the hostess starts walking us through the tables. There's, you know, a good decent amount of people there. Monica is actually way taller than me. She was a pretty tall woman. I'd say like 5'9", 5'10", not exactly 5'12", you know what I mean? So as we're walking, I see Monica and she's like, you know, just kind of like looking around, you know, whatever. And I see her head literally jerk. As we're following the hostess, Monica literally stops dead in her fucking tracks. And she was like, y'all tell me why. She fucking looks back at me and she was like, is that Veronica? And I was like, oh my God, yeah, that looks like Veronica. And Monica was like, she told me that she had an appointment. And she's like sitting there staring at the back of Veronica's head. And like Veronica's sitting with her back towards us. At this very moment, Monica doesn't register who's at the table with Veronica. So she's just like stunned to see Veronica there in the first place. She starts like walking again and she's like looking at Veronica at the back of Veronica's head. And then she looks over and goes, Nikki, I'll be right back. Oh, bitch, it's about to be on it, Poppy. It's about to be on it, Poppy. And I was like, okay, I'll follow the hostess to our table. And she was like, okay, I'll meet you there in a second. Like, she did not even like pay me no mind. She was like dead set. Her eyes were locked in on the both of them. And she was like, I'll be right there. Y'all, I could not get to my table fast enough. I wanted to just sit down and watch the show, bitch. I know. I'm messy. I know. Okay. So the hostess sits us down. You know that little spiel where she's like, oh, you know, your waiter will be right with you. And I was like, okay, thank you so much. Like, hurry up, girl. Like, I'm trying to get my tea. So she sets down the menu. She walks off and y'all, and I see her tap Veronica on the shoulder. And I cannot for the life of me hear them. Like, they're inside. Like, I can see them perfectly, but there are so many people around me. I cannot hear a fucking word that she is saying. And like, I just feel like it was so inappropriate for me to just like walk over there, you know? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God. Y'all, I just see at this point in time, I'm looking at the back of Monica's head and I'm looking at the side of Veronica and Jake. And y'all, Veronica looks over and y'all, she goes pale. She was caught red motherfucking handed. And she was like, and you could just tell that she was like, oh, hey, like, you know, like trying to play it off. And I just see, like, literally, I just see Monica's head going like this. And then she turns over to look at Jake and she's just like, now, I will say this about Monica. She may be a lot of things, but that woman was classy, okay? So I don't know what she said, but she definitely shut this shit down. Very composed. But you could tell that this bitch was pissed. Y'all, she swung her purse on her shoulder. She said the last things that she needed to say. She turned right around, headed directly towards me. Y'all, I didn't know how this was gonna turn out, but I did not expect Monica to still want to have lunch here, okay? So she starts heading towards our table. And like, y'all, she is fucking pissed. Like, I have never seen her face like that, right? And she comes and sits down right next to me at this table, and I look up and me and Veronica lock eyes. Best believe I was like, sad. Your friend's mad at you? Sad. I could tell Veronica wanted to fight me in that very moment. You could tell, like, I knew and she knew that all of this happened because of me. Like, obviously, like, what are the odds of me being out with Monica? I wasn't even ashamed of it. I was just like, had a good like 5-10 seconds of just like staring at each other eye to eye, and I was like, bitch, jump. What? Like, you expect me to sit up here and be fucking keeping your little funky ass disgusting secrets, but you keep coming at me sideways and making shit my problem and disregarding me and telling me that I need to get over shit? Well, bitch, get over it. Get the fuck over it. Maybe you should have been a little bit more sly about this shit. Like, you got a lot of fucking nerve to not only do this to your best friend, but to do this with her mans in broad daylight at the same restaurant that you and your bestie frequent all the time. Monica and Veronica used to go to Rock Bottom all the fucking time. After work, during lunch, that was their spot. So Veronica had the fucking nerve. No regrets. No regrets. The minute that the waitress came to our table, Monica was like, before you start, sweetheart, I'm having a very hard day. I need you to bring me the biggest house margarita you got, okay? And put an extra shot in there, all right? He was like, you want anything? My treat. I'll take the same thing. Y'all, me and Monica had a great lunch considering. Before the margaritas even got to our table, Veronica and Jake got up and left. We saw them leaving. You know, they have to like walk out of the front of the restaurant and then like continue to walk around the outside area so we could still see them. And when I tell you, Monica was literally like not even scared, like staring Veronica down like, bitch. Monica confided in me a little bit about their friendship. She told me, she was like, this isn't even about Jake. Like, I'm not in love with him or anything. He was just a fun time. But like, I really enjoyed being around Veronica. Like, I really thought that she was my friend. It's just disappointing. I'm just really disappointed and disgusted. She's not about to let anybody see her sweat. And I had never seen a woman be able to compose herself so elegantly and so well, because tell me not, like, if you would have seen your best friend, work environment or not, at a restaurant with your mans, like, we all know what the fuck happened. Especially if that's your best friend. So I was shocked, bitch. I did not know these things about Monica, but she started telling me that, you know, she just moved here to Colorado not too long ago. She was really looking for genuine connection. She had just gotten out of an abusive relationship with her ex. She was always looking for like girlfriends and people to connect with, and Veronica was that for her, and she was so disappointed and she was so disgusted. And same thing that I felt, you know, really, because I had been jaded by my best friend as well with that type of shit. And she was like, this is why I have a hard time trusting people. I have trust issues. And I told her about what happened between me and Heather's funky ass, because it was still pretty fresh at this time. And I was like, yeah, you know, I had the same thing happen with like my high school best friend. We literally ended that lunch taking our margaritas, the last sips of them, and cheersing to not being screwed over by bitchy ass friends. And we were like, and what I thought was gonna be like a super dramatic like fight turned into like this crazy connection moment for me and Monica. And I did feel for her. She meant what she said. This was not about Jake. That was not the love of her life. She did not expect like a long-term relationship. Like, he just made her feel beautiful and it was fun hanging out with him. By the time we were walking back to work, we were definitely a little tipsy. So, you know, we're laughing, and she kept her composure. And I like literally was like watching out for them for like the rest of the day. I didn't see Monica. I didn't see Veronica for the rest of the day. Y'all, I don't know what happened, if they ever had a conversation or if Monica like called Veronica out outside of work. I don't know. All I know is that I never ever saw them together ever again. They coexisted. They were cordial to one another, but Monica was not fucking with Veronica no more. Like, not in meetings. They would not sit next to each other. There was no more lunches. They didn't work out together. And of course, as a result, Veronica started being more and more bitchy to me, and just like making things more and more difficult, being a smart ass to me, just like you know, she definitely knew that I was behind all of it. And I wasn't sorry. I was like, look, whatever. And I didn't mind it anyway, because I already had prospects in place and my resume was out there. And bitch, I'm not even trying to stay here for much longer any goddamn way. So you don't like me, I don't like you either, bitch. I interviewed for another job and I got the job. Told them that I needed 2 weeks to obviously end my job here. So the only person that I told was Monica. And I was straight up with her and I was like, I just don't want any backlash. I don't want any mistreatment from Veronica. I don't feel comfortable telling her that I'm leaving. And Monica straight up looked at me. She was like, you don't have to tell her anything. I am the HR director. She was like, thank you for coming to tell me. She was like, I'm sorry we couldn't make things work out for you. And you know what, Nikki, I really appreciate you and all the hard work that you've done. And I really wish you the best of luck. And she even offered me a letter of recommendation, y'all. Like, she really, really was solid. Okay. And I was like, yes, like that definitely, this experience connected me and Monica in a whole different way. She started the hiring process for another receptionist without Veronica knowing. And Veronica was so confused. Like, you know, who is this girl? You know, why are different girls coming in for interviews? Obviously, Veronica could not like go ask Monica any of that shit no more because they were not friends. So Monica was like, fuck you. And I'm not explaining shit. I'm doing my job. I don't have to go through you. You are not my boss, bitch. And she hired another girl. I had 2 weeks of training her. Of course, when that girl was like onboarded and hired officially, Veronica came to me and tried to ask me questions. And genuinely, I was just like, I don't know. I have no idea. You need to go talk to Monica. I don't know. Like, she's here now. I'm training her. And Veronica was like, but like, where are you going? Honestly, Veronica, I discussed this with the HR director. No, I just think that it would be the best thing for you to get this information from Monica. Veronica was like, I don't know what's going on. And I was like, I understand that, but Monica is the HR director, so you might want to get a meeting with her. Fast forward a few days into like my training this new girl, and I got an email that I was CC'd on that Veronica sent to Monica, asking, hey, can I get an update with this new hire? I need to know where Nikki's gonna be transferred to. Like, she had no fucking idea that I was not going to be working there anymore. Monica is a girl after my own heart, okay? She emailed Veronica back like this, bitch. And she was like, in order for me to catch you up, we'll definitely need to have a meeting. Let me take a look at my calendar and I'll let you know when I'm available. Yes, queen, yes. I have so much respect for Monica. The way that she reacted to that situation, the way that she handled that situation, she didn't make herself look crazy. She didn't lose her job. She didn't jeopardize anything of her. She was just like, bitch, I am done with you. I ended up getting another job at another oil and gas company thanks to her, because she was my reference, and it was so awesome to have her backing me up with this. And I was able to get a higher paying, higher position job at another oil and gas company. It was with her help, and I don't think that I would have been able to land this job without her. So Monica, girl, if you ever see this, girl, you the homie, and I really appreciate you. Anyways, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. If you did, y'all already know what to do with that like button. I'd really appreciate it. Definitely have your fine ass hit that subscribe button to be a part of my glam fam. But thank you guys so much for being here. You guys can follow me on my socials for some more Nikki in your life. If you are interested, I'm gonna have some giveaways on my Instagram story, so definitely be there, okay? Before you go, don't forget to invest in your health and wellness, love, and check out Care Of, especially with their customized supplements to help you reach your health and wellness goals. Hit that link down in the description box, take their 5-minute quiz, and get some customized supplements delivered straight to your door with 50% off your first month with Care Of using Nikki Glamour. Thank you guys so much for being here. I love you so much, and I will see your fine ass in my next video. Peace out, y'all.